If you wake up in the morning and your body feels heavy, your energy drained, and your manhood not as strong as it once was, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you might shock you. The reason most men over 60 lose their strength, their stamina, and even their ability to perform in bed has nothing to do with age. It's not your fault, and it's not just getting old. It's something much simpler, and it starts with what you eat every single morning. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men restore their vitality, energy, and confidence naturally. I've treated thousands of men who thought their best years were behind them, only to watch them rebuild their strength and passion using nothing more than the power of nutrition and simple daily habits. Most men assume they need pills or hormones to feel young again, but what if I told you that inside your kitchen, right now, there's one natural food that can reactivate your body's blood flow, energy, and masculine power in a way no drug ever could? It's not a supplement or some exotic fruit, it's a food you can find in any grocery store. And it works within days. Eat this food every morning, and you'll notice your muscles feel stronger, your mind sharper, and your confidence returning. You'll wake up ready for the day and ready for your partner with energy you haven't felt in years. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly what this food is, how it works inside your body, and the science behind why it restores strength and vitality, especially for men over 60. Before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another doctor's tip designed to help you stay strong, healthy, and full of energy after 60. And if you find this message helpful, type 1 in the comments below. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create even better videos for you. Now, let's talk about what's really happening inside your body as you age, because before we can restore your strength, we need to understand why it fades in the first place. And the truth might surprise you. It's not age that's stealing your vitality. It's something far more preventable. 1. The hidden crisis of aging men. When most men cross the age of 60, something begins to change deep inside, quietly, slowly, and often without warning. You wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and realize your shoulders aren't as broad, your muscles aren't as firm, and the spark that once defined you feels dim. You tell yourself it's just part of getting older, but as someone who spent decades studying male health, I can tell you the truth. It's not just age. What's happening inside your body is a biological slowdown that can be reversed if you understand its roots. As we age, the body begins to lose its rhythm. Your testosterone, the very hormone that drives energy, focus, and sexual performance, starts to decline year after year. Blood circulation slows. The mitochondria, those microscopic power plants inside your cells, become sluggish. Oxygen doesn't reach your muscles and organs the way it used to, and suddenly, even simple things like climbing stairs or walking across the yard feel heavier than before. You're not lazy. Your body just isn't firing on all cylinders anymore. I've had patients tell me, "Doc, I still feel like the same man inside, but my body doesn't keep up." And I understand that feeling deeply, because vitality isn't just about physical power, it's about identity, confidence, and the ability to feel alive in your own skin. When that fades, it's not just your strength that disappears, it's your sense of self. But here's the hidden truth. What most men call aging is often nothing more than nutrient deficiency and poor circulation. The body still has the tools to produce energy, testosterone, and strong erections. It simply lacks the right fuel. Imagine your body as an engine. Over time, the fuel you give it, processed foods, sugar-heavy breakfasts, lack of hydration, starts clogging the system. The engine doesn't stop working, it just sputters, waiting for the right spark. That's where the crisis truly lies. Not in getting older, but in letting your body go undernourished. Every cell in your system is begging for oxygen and nitric oxide, two powerful molecules that keep your blood flowing, your heart pumping, and your manhood alive. Yet most men over 60 start their mornings with food that blocks these pathways instead of opening them. It's no wonder so many feel tired, foggy, and defeated before the day even begins. When I sit across from a patient who's lost hope, I always tell him, "You're not broken. Your body isn't done. It's simply waiting for you to give it what it needs to function again. Once you do, the results are remarkable. Energy rises, blood pressure balances, muscles feel stronger, and confidence returns. You start to feel like yourself again, not an older version of who you used to be, but a stronger, wiser, more complete man." And the best part is, this transformation doesn't start in a hospital or with a prescription. It begins right where your day begins, at your breakfast table. Because the key to reversing this hidden crisis lies in one simple morning food that reignites your blood flow, restores your energy, and wakes up the man you thought was gone. And in the next section, I'll show you exactly what that food is, and why it's changing the lives of men your age all over the world. 2. The science behind morning fuel. When I talk to my patients about restoring strength and vitality, the first thing I tell them is this: your mornings are sacred. The first hour after you wake up determines the rhythm of your entire day. And yet, most men over 60 start their mornings with the worst possible combination: coffee, sugar, and nothing that truly feeds the body's engine. I've seen it hundreds of times in my clinic. A man walks in exhausted, weak, frustrated, believing his body is failing him, when in truth, it's simply starving for the right kind of fuel. Here's what I mean. When you wake up, your body is in a fasting state. Your blood sugar is low, your circulation is sluggish, and your brain is waiting for oxygen and nutrients to restart the system. This is the perfect moment. The window of opportunity to give your body what it needs to rebuild strength and circulation. But when you feed it empty calories or skip breakfast altogether, you're missing the chance to ignite your natural energy. What your body truly needs is something that sparks blood flow, boosts nitric oxide, and wakes up every cell from the inside out. That's where one incredible natural food comes in: beetroot. Yes, the humble beet, something so simple, most people overlook it. But it contains a compound called nitrate that converts into nitric oxide once inside your body. Nitric oxide is a miracle molecule. It relaxes your blood vessels, allowing oxygen-rich blood to flow more freely to your heart, your brain, and your most vital organ, the one that defines your masculinity. It's the same pathway prescription pills try to activate, but beetroot does it naturally, safely, and powerfully. I remember one of my patients, a retired Navy officer in his late 60s, who came to me tired and defeated. His blood pressure was high, his energy low, and intimacy had become a memory. I asked him to make one small change: start every morning with a glass of fresh beet juice. 3 weeks later, he walked into my office with a smile I hadn't seen before. His energy had returned, his confidence was back, and he simply said, "Doc, I feel alive again." That's the science in action. Not theory, not hype, but biology at work. Beetroot doesn't just improve circulation, it enhances stamina, oxygen delivery, and even cognitive clarity. When your blood flows better, your brain thinks sharper, your muscles recover faster, and your mood stabilizes. It's like flipping the switch on your body's power supply. And the best part? It doesn't matter whether you're 60 or 75, your body still knows how to respond. It just needs the right trigger, and that trigger begins each morning with the right food. I know some men might be skeptical. It sounds too simple. One food, one habit. But in medicine, the simplest things often have the most profound effects. That's why I call beetroot the morning ignition food. It doesn't just feed your body, it wakes it up, fuels it, and sets the tone for the rest of your day. And here's where it gets truly exciting. When you combine this powerful morning food with the natural testosterone rhythm that peaks right after you wake up, something remarkable happens. Your body doesn't just regain energy, it reignites masculine power from within. And in the next section, I'll show you exactly how to use this morning ritual to restore your strength, stamina, and passion, starting tomorrow morning. 3. The morning ritual that restores male power. Every man over 60 needs a morning ritual, not one filled with stress or rushing, but a ritual that reawakens his body, mind, and confidence. I tell my patients all the time, How you start your morning determines how your body performs for the rest of the day. And yet, most men open their eyes and immediately reach for their phone, their coffee, or their worries. They don't realize they're missing the most powerful opportunity to reignite their masculine energy. Those first precious minutes after waking up, when your hormones are at their natural peak. When you wake, your testosterone level is at its highest point of the day. This is nature's way of giving men their internal spark, but only if you know how to use it. What you do during that first hour can either amplify your natural energy or waste it entirely. This is why the morning is the perfect time to activate blood flow, feed your cells with oxygen, and fuel your body with the right nutrients. It's like tuning an old engine before it starts to run. Give it the right spark, and it roars back to life. Here's what I've seen work again and again, both in the lab and in my patients' lives. The first thing you should do when you wake up is drink a glass of water, not coffee. Hydration immediately jumpstarts your circulation and prepares your body to absorb nutrients efficiently. Then, within the next 15 minutes, consume your morning fuel, a cup of beetroot juice, or a small bowl of cooked beets. This combination of hydration and nitric oxide-rich food sends a surge of oxygen and blood flow through your system, naturally energizing your muscles, your heart, and yes, your manhood. I remember one patient in particular, a 64-year-old man who had nearly given up on intimacy. He told me, "Doc, I feel like my body just doesn't respond anymore." I guided him through this exact ritual. Within 2 weeks, he came back, his eyes brighter, his posture straighter, and with a grin that said everything. He didn't need to tell me what had changed. His energy spoke for him. That's what happens when your body is fueled properly at the right time. And it's not just about the physical results. Something deeper shifts when you start treating your mornings with purpose. You begin to feel more in control. You walk taller, think clearer, and carry a quiet confidence that others notice. Your body feels younger not because of magic, but because you're giving it what it's been missing: consistent energy, proper circulation, and respect for your natural rhythm. If you make this ritual part of your life, every morning becomes an act of renewal. And when you repeat it daily, your body learns to expect strength, to respond faster, to perform better. You'll start to wake up with that familiar drive, that sense of power that you thought had faded forever. But while physical strength is important, what happens next goes far beyond muscles or stamina, because when you start to feel that surge of energy again, something powerful awakens inside you. A feeling that changes not just your body, but your spirit. In the next part, I'll show you how restoring your strength physically also transforms your emotions, your relationships, and even how you see yourself as a man. 4. The emotional impact of regaining strength. When a man begins to lose his strength, it's not just his body that weakens, it's his spirit. I've seen it countless times in my practice. A man who once stood tall now moves a little slower, speaks a little softer, and carries a quiet sadness in his eyes. It's not just about losing muscle or stamina, it's about losing a part of himself. The pride, the confidence, the sense of being capable and powerful. And often, he suffers in silence, pretending that everything is fine, because society has taught him that vulnerability is weakness. But I believe the opposite. Acknowledging that loss is the first step toward reclaiming who you truly are. I remember one patient vividly. He was 71, a retired carpenter, and he told me something that broke my heart. He said, "Doc, I used to build houses with these hands. Now I struggle just to open a jar." His words were heavy with disappointment, but what struck me most wasn't his physical limitation. It was the way he felt invisible, like the world had quietly moved on without him. When a man loses his vitality, he doesn't just feel weaker, he feels forgotten. And that feeling can erode his happiness faster than any disease. But here's the beautiful truth I've witnessed over and over again. When a man starts to rebuild his strength, something remarkable happens. His body responds, yes, but so does his mind. You can see it in his posture. The way his shoulders lift again, the light that returns to his eyes, the confidence in his voice. It's as if his entire being remembers who he was before the fatigue, before the doubt, before the quiet surrender. That transformation is powerful, not just physically, but emotionally. When men follow the simple morning ritual I teach, eating right, breathing deeply, moving lightly, their bodies begin to change, and so do their relationships. Wives tell me their husbands are smiling again, laughing more, even flirting like they did decades ago. Grandchildren notice their grandfathers running around the yard again. These are not miracles. They're the natural result of reconnecting with one's vitality. And the emotional healing that follows is profound. Because when a man feels strong again, he becomes more patient, more loving, and more alive in every part of his life. The return of strength is not just about blood flow or testosterone. It's about reclaiming identity. It's about feeling useful, proud, and full of purpose again. Every man deserves that. No one should ever feel that growing older means growing invisible. Aging is inevitable, but decline is not. Once your energy comes back, your emotions follow, and suddenly life looks brighter, fuller, and far more meaningful. And yet, even after experiencing this transformation, many men struggle to keep it going. They fall back into old habits, expecting quick results, and lose faith too soon. So the next question becomes, why do some men succeed while others fail to sustain their energy and vitality? In the next section, I'll explain the most common mistakes men make when trying to regain their strength, and how to avoid them so your progress never fades again. 5. Why most men fail to restore their energy. In all my years of working with men, I've noticed something that breaks my heart every time. Most men truly want to feel strong again. They want to wake up with energy. They want to feel desire. They want to feel capable in their bodies. But somewhere along the way, they lose hope. They try a new diet, a vitamin, or a supplement, and when it doesn't change their life overnight, they give up. They assume it's too late. They start to believe that their body is beyond repair, but it's not. The truth is, most men fail to restore their energy not because their bodies can't recover, but because they expect instant results from habits that require patience and consistency. You see, the body is a living system. It takes time to rebuild what years of stress, poor sleep, and unhealthy eating have slowly broken down. Think about it. You didn't lose your vitality in a day. It slipped away quietly over time. So why do we expect it to return in a week? The men who succeed in regaining their strength are not necessarily the ones with the best genetics or the most discipline. They are the ones who commit, who show up for themselves every single morning, even when they don't feel like it. I had a patient named Robert, 68 years old, who came to me exhausted and discouraged. He had tried every pill and powder on the market, but nothing worked. I told him, "Robert, what you need isn't another miracle cure. You need consistency." So I taught him the same simple morning routine I share here. Hydrate, move, and nourish your body with nitric oxide-rich foods like beetroot. The first week, he felt nothing. The second week, still nothing. But on day 15, he told me, "Doc, I woke up today with energy I haven't felt in years." That's how it happens. Slowly, quietly, and then all at once. The problem is that most men quit right before their breakthrough. They stop just as their body begins to rebuild the pathways for blood flow, testosterone production, and stamina. It's like planting a tree and giving up before it sprouts. The secret is to trust the process. Your body wants to heal. It's designed to recover if you give it the right conditions. Consistent movement, real food, deep sleep, and the belief that it's possible. And there's another mistake men make. They try to do too much too fast. They start with intensity instead of intention. But when you go from doing nothing to forcing your body into drastic change, it resists. The real power lies in gentle, stout, steady progress. The kind that builds momentum day by day until your body begins to crave the energy you're creating. When I tell men this, I can see the relief on their faces. They realize it's not about perfection, it's about persistence. The simple truth is that if you give your body 30 consistent days of the right habits, you will feel the difference, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. But here's the exciting part. Once you've built that foundation of consistency, there are ways to multiply your results even faster. By combining your morning food with a few key daily habits, small actions that amplify blood flow, muscle recovery, and mental clarity, you can transform the way your entire body functions. And in the next section, I'll show you exactly which habits make the biggest difference and how you can start using them tomorrow morning. 6. Combining beetroot with morning habits. One thing I've learned after decades of helping men regain their vitality is that transformation doesn't come from one single change. It comes from a combination of small, consistent habits that work together in harmony. Beetroot is powerful, yes, but when you pair it with the right morning rituals, it becomes unstoppable. Think of it as lighting a fire. Beetroot is the spark, but your habits are the oxygen that keeps the flame alive. And once that fire starts burning, it fuels everything. Your energy, your confidence, your drive, even your relationships. When you wake up, your body is like an engine that's been idle all night. It needs a few essential steps to get running smoothly again. The first is hydration. I always tell my patients, before you do anything else, drink a tall glass of water. Not coffee, not juice, water. During the night, your body loses fluid, and without replenishment, your blood becomes thicker, your circulation slower, and your brain foggier. Just one glass of water in the morning can immediately thin your blood, improve oxygen delivery, and prepare your system to absorb the nutrients from the food you eat next. Next comes movement. You don't need to run miles or lift heavy weights. In fact, that can do more harm than good if your joints or heart aren't ready for it. All you need is 10 to 15 minutes of gentle movement, walking, stretching, or even breathing exercises. I like to tell men, move your body and your blood will follow. Movement signals your heart to pump stronger and your muscles to wake up, setting the stage for that natural surge of nitric oxide that beetroot provides. It's like opening the highway before sending the cars through. Once your blood vessels open, that morning beet juice becomes even more effective. And then comes nourishment. When you drink your beet juice or eat a bowl of cooked beets, you're feeding your body the raw material it needs to create energy. But if you combine that with a light protein source, like eggs, Greek yogurt, or nuts, you give your muscles the fuel to rebuild themselves. The combination of nitric oxide from beets and amino acids from protein helps repair tissue, boost metabolism, and balance hormones. Over time, this synergy creates noticeable changes. Your posture improves, your energy lasts longer, and that heaviness in your body starts to fade. I remember one of my older patients telling me, "Doc, I started doing your morning routine, water, a short walk, and beet juice. And I feel like I've been given a new battery." He wasn't exaggerating. His blood pressure improved, his mood lifted, and his wife told me privately, he's smiling again. That's the power of combining habits. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things in the right order. When these habits become your morning rhythm, they create a chain reaction inside your body. You'll find yourself thinking clearer, breathing deeper, and feeling more alive throughout the day. But as your circulation and energy improve, something else begins to happen beneath the surface, a change that directly impacts your most intimate confidence. Because all of this comes down to one essential thing your body produces when it's healthy and active: nitric oxide. And in the next section, I'll explain exactly why this single molecule holds the key to restoring not just your energy, but your erections, your stamina, and your vitality as a man. 7. The science of nitric oxide and erections. If there's one thing every man over 60 needs to understand, it's this. Erections are not just about desire or testosterone. They're about blood flow. And the key to healthy blood flow lies in one small, powerful molecule called nitric oxide. I've spent much of my career studying how this molecule works inside the male body, and I can tell you that nitric oxide is nature's own performance enhancer. Without it, blood vessels tighten, circulation slows, and that firm, full feeling you once took for granted becomes harder to achieve. But when nitric oxide levels rise, everything changes. Your heart pumps stronger, your muscles feel alive, and yes, your manhood responds with power and confidence once again. Here's what happens inside your body. When you become aroused, your brain sends a signal to the blood vessels in the penis, telling them to relax and allow blood to rush in. Nitric oxide is the messenger that makes this possible. It's the chemical spark that turns desire into physical response. But as we age, The cells that produce nitric oxide, called endothelial cells, begin to weaken. They don't respond as efficiently, and as a result, less blood reaches where it needs to go. This is why so many men over 60 experience softer or shorter-lasting erections, even if their testosterone levels are relatively normal. What's remarkable is that the same nitric oxide that improves your erections also enhances your entire cardiovascular system. When your blood vessels relax, oxygen flows more freely to your brain, your heart, and your muscles. That's why when men begin adding nitrate-rich foods like beetroot to their diets, they often notice more than just improvement in the bedroom. They feel clearer, stronger, and more alive throughout the day. It's not magic, it's pure biology. Your body is finally getting the oxygen and nutrients it's been craving. I remember a patient named Samuel, 70 years old, who once told me, "Doc, I thought my best days were behind me." He had accepted that intimacy was a thing of the past. But within a month of restoring his nitric oxide levels naturally through diet and morning habits, he came back to my office smiling. "I didn't think this was possible at my age," he said, his voice full of disbelief and gratitude. That's the beauty of this science. It proves that age doesn't have to define your ability to feel like a man again. And here's something most people don't realize. Prescription drugs for erectile dysfunction work by enhancing nitric oxide signaling. They don't create arousal. They simply help nitric oxide do its job. But when you restore nitric oxide naturally through nutrition and lifestyle, you address the root cause instead of masking the symptom. You're not forcing your body to respond. You're teaching it to function the way it was meant to. When your nitric oxide levels rise, you don't just regain your erections. You regain your confidence. You stand taller, think clearer, and feel more connected to life. That's the power of real, natural restoration. Your blood flows better, your heart works easier, and your entire body starts performing in harmony again. But here's where the real magic happens. When you combine this biological awakening with consistency and emotional strength, something much deeper unfolds. In the next part, I'll share real stories from men who've lived this transformation, men who proved that it's never too late to reclaim your power, rebuild your confidence, and reignite the fire within. 8. Real results from real men. Over the years, I've had the privilege of watching hundreds of men transform before my eyes, not in some dramatic overnight miracle, but through quiet, steady renewal. These are real men. Men who once felt trapped inside bodies that no longer obeyed them, who believed their strength, energy, and passion were gone for good. Yet with patience, commitment, and the right daily habits, they discovered something extraordinary, that their bodies were never broken, only waiting to be reawakened. One of my favorite stories comes from a man named James, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. When he first came to see me, he looked exhausted. His face was pale, his posture slouched, and his voice carried the weight of frustration. "Doc," he said, "I used to run into burning buildings. Now I can barely walk up my driveway." We started simple: a glass of beet juice every morning, a short walk after breakfast, and a reminder to stay hydrated. At first he doubted anything would change, but 3 weeks later, James returned to my office looking 10 years younger. His color had come back, his handshake was firm, and he smiled as he said, "I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I've got fire in me again." That's not coincidence. That's biology working in his favor. Then there was William, a 72-year-old musician who had quietly withdrawn from intimacy with his wife after years of struggling with erectile issues. He told me, "Doc, it's embarrassing. I love her, but my body doesn't respond anymore." I could hear the pain in his voice, not just physical, but emotional. I guided him through the same program, the beetroot, the hydration, the morning movement, and reminded him that patience would pay off. A month later, he sent me a handwritten note. It worked. "We're closer than ever." That letter still sits in my desk drawer, a reminder that restoring health means restoring connection too. And then there was Thomas, a 65-year-old widower who had stopped caring for himself after losing his wife. His energy was gone, his motivation gone with it. When I introduced him to the morning ritual, he said, "Doc, what's the point?" But slowly, as his energy returned, something inside him changed. He started going on walks again. He reconnected with old friends. And one day, with tears in his eyes, he told me, "I feel like myself again. I thought that part of me died with her." That's the true power of this transformation. It's not just about blood flow or physical performance. It's about awakening the will to live fully again. I've seen these stories play out time and time again, men rediscovering not only their strength, but their joy, their passion, and their purpose. Because when the body begins to heal, the spirit follows. And while these stories may sound inspiring, what matters most is that they're real. These are not extraordinary men. They are everyday men, just like you. And what's even more encouraging is that this change doesn't require massive effort or impossible discipline. It begins with small, doable steps. The same steps you can start tomorrow. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how to put this into practice. How to bring everything we've talked about together into one simple, powerful routine you can start the moment you wake up. 9. How to make it practical. Now that you understand how your body works and what truly restores your energy, let's make it simple. Because the real secret to transformation lies in taking small, practical steps every single day. Over the years, I've found that most men don't fail because they lack knowledge. They fail because they overcomplicate things. They think they need the perfect diet, a fancy supplement, or a complete lifestyle overhaul. But in truth, your body doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. It needs a plan that feels natural, realistic, and enjoyable enough to stick with. So here's how to begin. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, start with 1 glass of water. Drink it slowly. Feel it hydrate your throat, your chest, your body. That water is more powerful than most men realize. It thins the blood, wakes the brain, and prepares every cell for the day ahead. Next, move. I'm not asking you to jog miles or lift weights. Just walk for 10 minutes. Walk around your home, your yard, or your neighborhood. Breathe deeply. Let your body feel alive again. That gentle movement tells your heart and blood vessels, it's time to wake up. It's a message your body responds to every time. Then comes nourishment. And this is where the magic happens. Take 1 small beet, wash it, and blend it with half an apple, a squeeze of lemon, and a bit of water. Drink that fresh beet juice within 15 minutes of waking. You can also eat roasted or boiled beets if you prefer. Within days, you'll start noticing subtle changes: clearer thinking, steadier energy, and better circulation. Within weeks, you'll notice deeper changes: improved stamina, better mood, and, for many men, stronger morning erections. If you want to take it one step further, pair your beet juice with a small source of protein, a boiled egg, a handful of nuts, or Greek yogurt. This combination balances blood sugar, supports muscle recovery, and keeps your energy stable throughout the day. And as you continue this routine, your body will begin to adapt. It will expect this rhythm, this nourishment, this respect. You'll start to feel the difference not just in your body, but in your confidence. I often tell my patients, don't think of this as a diet or a program. Think of it as a conversation with your body, one where you finally start listening. Your body has been waiting for you to care for it again, to feed it what it needs to perform the way it was meant to. And when you do, it rewards you with energy, strength, and a renewed sense of masculinity that no medication can ever truly provide. You see, every man has the power to change his health story, not by doing something extreme, but by doing something consistent. The smallest habits, when practiced with intention, become the foundation for lasting transformation. And as incredible as these physical changes are, what happens next goes even deeper. Because when you finally reclaim your strength and vitality, you begin to experience a shift not just in your body, but in your heart, in how you see yourself and how you live your life. In the final part, I'll show you exactly what that renewal feels like, and why this journey isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. 10. Final thoughts. The power of renewal. Gentlemen, your body was never meant to fade quietly with age. It was built to adapt, to renew, and to thrive when given the right care. Each morning, with a glass of water, a few deep breaths, and that simple beetroot ritual, you're telling your body, I'm not done yet. Strength, energy, and confidence aren't memories. They're waiting to return. I've seen it happen countless times, and it can happen for you too. So start tomorrow. Feed your body, move with purpose, and remember, you're not growing old, you're growing stronger. Your best years can still be ahead of you.